and all of them show exploitation of migrant workers. But the story that we chose is this woman here. As you can see, she's just like behind bars. She's a domestic worker, and she is very sad. But as you can see, there is a circle. It started at home when the family pushed her to pay some recruiter to go work in a different country. So she had to pay money to go there. So when she gets to her employer, where the recruiters place her to work, she started to work there in conditions just like slavery. They pay her very little. And then, without her even knowing, the employer, which is illegal, sold her to another employer. So now she's working for that second person, but not knowing that it is illegal in that country for her to be working for somebody else. And after 3 years of working, she saved very little money. And then when she decided that she needed to go back home because the condition was not good for her, she decided she needed to go home. This is at that point she realized that she went to the police first. And then the police started to work with the NGO to send her back home. And then they found out that the person that she was working for really wasn't the original employer. Only the original employer could sign the paper for her to leave the country so she can go back home. So she was detained for about 15 days. And it's a whole story. Her money was taken away from her, and the little bit of money she had was taken away. And thank God for the NGO that helped her get the money back. But the point is, as you can see here, this is a state. This is a system of oppression that the country created. There is no justice for her. And although she didn't do anything wrong, because the original employer, when he went to the police, he said that she ran away. Instead of telling the truth that she was sold to the second employer, he said that she ran away. But because she ran away, this is why she went to jail for 15 days. But with the NGO help, she was able to go back home. But the important thing is that this is a circle. Although she was able to go back home, it is expected that she will come back, maybe not in the same country, but to another one. Because the system at home, they are pushing her to go work so she can send money back home. And this is the circle that is all around the life of the domestic migrant worker. Especially women, because there is a man at home that said, you need to go work and send us money.
And the story was told by Sister Josephine here. It's a story of an Indian girl, a 17-year-old girl, who was sold by her parents to work in Singapore as a domestic worker. And here you see the agent giving money to the parents who then send away their child in the hope of receiving money and to help them in their daily life later on. She works there at the family for 3 months, after which the girl disappears. The family doesn't know where she is anymore. And the girl is dead. After 3 months she dies. And the agent is threatening the family, telling the family that they cannot turn to the police, they cannot turn to the authorities, or bad things will happen to them. So in the end, after 3 months, even the body is not sent back to the family, and the girl is just cremated, burnt, and is not there anymore. And the issues that were raised, we talked a little bit about the situation of the family, which sometimes can be overshadowed by the tragic stories of the people who actually migrate. But the families who are in this extremely vulnerable situation, that they have to actually send their children away, they have to sell their children away. I believe it's a very important kind of issue that was raised, and also the role of women as commodities, something that are being sold and used and then discarded. So yes, that was our story.
And I think also, despite her approaching various government organizations, and both in Singapore and in India, nothing actually happened. Which goes to show that very often the employers are so powerful and have such a powerful lobby where the agents, between the employers and the agents, they totally hush them.
I guess I'll start with an observation and then open it up to you about what you see as some trends or themes, what may be different in regions, and what is coming out in terms of a gender analysis. What I shared with the group that struck me in our group is that we had tried to box in to specific sites the stories of women. Is this happening in the home? Is this happening in transit? Is this happening in the workplace? And I think one of the themes that is emerging, and we can see some of the arrows, is that you can't box in what's happening to migrant women in terms of a particular site. And I think that the Lauda's group reflected it really beautifully in your story of every single step along the journey, from when she leaves home and why she leaves home and how she journeys, and what happens in the new place, in her home, in her workplace, in the community, and vis-a-vis the state, that in fact the same woman is experiencing violations of rights in each of those places.